I can almost guarantee that you've never seen anything like this before.
I'm very, very nervous for the next step, which is literally lifting it in the air 6 feet.
I'm Sean, and he's Patrick. Our parents started this 40 years ago, and now we build everything from luxury pools to zoo habitats. We are Rock Inc.
That tree was one of the most difficult things to plan out because they wanted it perfect. On top of that, we had to make sure that it fit on the trailer legally and that we were able to strap it all down, make sure it was safe, and got all the way to the site. Installation was extremely particular. We had a very small space to actually bring it. Planning out putting a giant tree through a very small door during a very small window of time was extremely difficult.
Just wrap it around the fork, just like that. Perfect. All right, later. Good job.
The tree installed, that was a difficult job. Obviously the tree with all the branches, and it's made out of steel and concrete, so there's not a whole lot of flex there. You know, they're not gonna bend like regular branches.
Thankfully, they had opened up this entire doorway. Here we go. Mark. So we had 13 feet by 7.5 feet, but our tree was 14.5 feet by 8.5 feet. So we actually had to cut some branches just to get it in the door, unfortunately. Now that we're inside,
We actually had to bring 4 of us, and then we had to slowly lift it up manually.
Under and like lift up that end of it. Up.
With a forklift, there just wasn't enough maneuverability to actually lift that thing up and in place. So what we did was we brought it in with the forklift and by hand, a little bit of a mixture of both.
All right, now that it's standing upright, we are ready to move on to the next step.
So the way that Pavel and Tubix Engineer actually figured out how to make sure that this tree was perfectly balanced was incredible. They used 400-pound, 1-inch thick steel plate at the bottom, along with another 1,000 pounds of counterweight hung from threaded bolts and hidden completely by this 3D printed pot. From there, we actually were able to slowly bring it up, set it onto the giant 400-pound plate, and then get it into place. And that took hours and hours of time in order to get that safely set, balanced, hanging in the air.
This is, you have to tension your tables to the point of relative plumb.
Cubic has already prepped all the aircraft cables on each of the corners, and what we're going to be doing is actually attaching these things mid-level. The hard part is that we have to balance all 4 corners and making sure to do micro adjustments. Thankfully, that's up to Cubic, and we are here as support at this point.
As soon as we're in the air, then we got the pot on. Yep. We're gonna put that around, and then we can start epoxying in the ground. And then once you're done, we put the pot on at the bottom, tighten it up, put this thing back on, and we're done. And then we have a beautiful video.
all right, we're finally done for the day, but we'll be right back here tomorrow. I've been very, very nervous for the next step because we're literally lifting in the air 6 feet. Before that, we're actually adding a couple branches onto the top. It's a windy, cold day, so we're happy to be inside, but we got a lot of work to do, so I'm gonna get going. Okay, new branch has been added, our tree has been lifted in the air, and now it's time to get the pot underneath.
It was a good job. I enjoyed our time there, especially with that job. There was a lot of waiting. So a lot of me sitting in the forklift, you know, forklift certified. This guy right here.
Now you gotta wing back. Roll a little. Okay, I'm eating real quick. I'm gonna eat real quick. Tree does not want to be perfectly balanced, so we actually have to trim the branch that we put back on in order to try and rebalance this entire thing mid-air.
The counterweight just didn't seem to be enough. So, you know, as a arborist climbs a tree, we did a similar thing. But instead of cutting wood, we're cutting steel.
I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty upsetting having to cut off some of these branches, but it's just part of the job. You've got to adapt to each and every individual space, and you got to make sure at the end of the day that this looks epic.
Well, still not level.
That's pretty darn close to level this direction.
Once the tree was safely installed and in place and steady, we were able to actually just put all the leaves in, epoxying that base, and then touching up with paint all around.
This is the entire feature of this whole lobby. Everybody's gonna be looking at this from below, from beside it, forever, for decades and decades to come, right? We want to make sure this thing stands the test of time and looks great the whole time. We're talking tens of thousands of leaves in here, and to make that feel natural is really, really important.
As you can see, I am in the middle of a tree that is looking pretty bad.
Overall, I couldn't be happier with how this looks, and I'm proud to know that this will be the first thing that people see when they walk into this lobby, and they are not going to know how on earth we were able to create such a masterful art piece. I want to make sure to give a special shout out to our employers and our good friends at Cubic. They literally got this entire project off the ground.
This base alone weighs 1,800 pounds. Our tree only weighs 400, just for context.
From designing and, of course, engineering to bringing us on to make sure that we can work together in creating one of the coolest trees on the planet.